And I hope you enjoy, and I hope you'll be able to try it at home also.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to my channel. Welcome into the live this morning. This morning, we are going to be doing the reading of the book, continuing the reading of the book of Joshua. And we are going to be looking at Samson and what happened to Samson according to the good book. Judges. Now, now, um, last time we read from Judges, the last few chapters in Judges, where we read up to chapter 15, we saw where Samson went down to the Philistines, tried to trick the people about some out of eater come fat meat and out of strong come sweetness. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to that live. Listen to that live, or you can go read it in your book Bible by yourself. Judges chapter 14 and verse 14. And this morning we are going to continue by reading the five more chapters. Actually, we are going to be reading of the book of Judges. So welcome into the live. Thank you all so much for coming. I sincerely appreciate you all, and I hope you all have been enjoying the reading of the Bible as much as I've been enjoying bringing it to you. For those of you who don't understand what's going on here, we are ordinary people, lay people with only the religious knowledge that we have been raised with and we have been compelled to follow all our lives. And but now we are taking on this journey to read the Bible ourselves as lay people and understand it on our own terms. Seek knowledge where we need to, seek additional clarity where we need to, but just to understand it, because after all, the Bible has so much influence on every aspect of our lives that it is absolutely imperative that we know what is in it for ourselves. And we have been coming up across some very, very interesting some interesting language and literature and activities in the Bible that no doubt has had us have more questions than we expected. But nonetheless, we are going to continue the readings and until we get to the book of Revelation, we are going to continue and everything in between. Wherever we find any biblical literature, we shall be exploring them so that we see how we can tie it in to the knowledge we either the knowledge we thought we already had or the knowledge that we have acquired by reading the Bible ourselves. So come along with me, guys. Get your book Bible or your Google Bible, whichever one you want. I think they both have the same literature in them. I am reading from the King James Version of the Bible. All right. So thanks again, guys, for coming. Let us begin. I see Gays in the house. How are you, Gay? Good morning to you. How are you doing? You know, I wake up long time and have my eyes looking on that foolishness going on in England. And I don't know what to do. England ain't got nothing at all to do with me. So let me come find something that have something to do with me. And if you don't see me doing anything at all in this world, and for any reason, and for any reason at all, this is not their platform. Me not talk about them. Anyway, let us continue. Come along with me, guys. Judges chapter 15. But it came to pass within a while after, in the time of wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife with a kid. And he said, you know, the kid means a goat, right? A baby goat. And her father said, I verily thought that you had utterly hated fairer than she. Take her, I pray thee, instead of her. So now hear what happened to Samson. After the wife told the Philistines that Samson's riddle, Samson's fufu riddle, that Samson's riddle was about the lion and the bees. Samson got really angry and he left and went back to his parents. So now they say after a while had passed, he came back carrying a kid. So this kid now must be the forgiveness kid. Sorry, wifey. Sorry, some left you and go back to my family. Hated her because of what she did. We never know you was coming back. So I gave her to another man. We're on chapter 15. He says, well, I gave her to another man. But she have a little sister here. The little sister is kind of fairer, you know, better looking and nicer than her. So um, come, you can take the little sister. Let's see what happened after the father said that to to Samson. And Samson said concerning them, now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them a displeasure. And Samson went and caught 300 foxes. 300 foxes, and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst between two tails. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines and burn up both the shocks and also the standing corn with the vineyards and olives. Wanna say something wrong with Samson? So after you left the woman and you gone back to your people, then now you coming back. The father said, I didn't think you wanted your wife anymore. I thought you hated her. So I gave her to another man. So take our sister. You get angry and you get vexed. And you gonna with your manpower, with your man strength. And you went ahead and you caught 300 foxes. 300 foxes. And you set the foxes tail to tail and set them on fire and let them go into the people's cornfields and the people's groves. Burn down the people them. You know, so it's a long time men are acting foolish when it comes to women though. And you set the foxes on fire. And when you set the foxes on fire, the foxes run through the people's cornfield. And you know, corn hooks easy to catch fire. So the corn stalks catch a fire and everything burn down. The people, them vineyards, them grape, them olives and everything else burn down. Now let's continue the reading. Verse 6. Then the Philistines said, who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he had taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. You see that? Because of some so foolishness, you know, why they turn around and burn up the girl, you know, burn up the wife and now burn up our father as well. And Samson said unto them, though he have done this, yet will I be avenged of you, and after that I will cease. And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. And he went down and dwelt in the top of the rock Etam. Jesus help my soul. Let us continue reading because this Samson here is reminding me of what's going on in the world today with these men who think that when they are angry at a woman, they are supposed to take it out on other people, take it out on her, take it out on her family, take it out on other people. Yeah, this is Samson right here. And remember, Samson was the man who God said was going to be the Nazarite with the dreadlocks. Let us continue reading. Verse 9. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah and spread themselves in Lehi. And the men of Judah said, why are ye come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up, to do to him as he hath done to us. All right. So you see your revenge go. You revenge me, I revenge you. You do something to me, I do something to you. And it never ends. So now the men that were left, Samson go down there and just start killing off the people then with him brute force strength. And now the men move up to Judah. And the people in Judah say, no, when I go? When I come up here so far? They said, we are come up here for come do same thing that Samson did to our people. Okay. Let's read verse 10 again. And the men of Judah said, why are ye come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up, to do to him as he hath done to us. Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock Etam. Remember, that's where Samson run to, After he killed off those people down there in the Philistine, he went up to Mount Etam to dwell. And Mount Etam is up there in Judah. That's where the children of Israel were. All right. So let us continue. 300 that the Philistines are rulers over us. Samson, you know, say we are slave. You know, say we are slave and them are the ruler. What make you go down they go do that? No, you cause all this problem on us. What make you do that, Samson? What is this thou hast said unto him? We are come down to bind thee, that we may deliver thee into the hands of the Philistines. So then come for time up. That's what the Jews are up there said to him. In Judah said to Samson, Samson, we come to tie you up. And we're going to carry you down there and give you to them and make them do whatever they want to do with you. Because you are the one who go down there, go cause problem. I mean, no, say somebody in the court probably remind him, say, your father ain't tell us your name for go down there go love no woman. Your father ain't tell you. And you still go down there. And you see what happened to you. So now, we're not going to make your destruction come upon us. We are going to tie you up and carry you back down there to them. Let's see what happened. Verse 12. And they said unto him, we are come down to bind you, that we may deliver you into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me that you will not fall upon me yourselves. So you tell me, say you're not gonna do that. That's essentially what he said. You tell me, say you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna tie me up and give me over to the Philistines. And they spake unto him, saying, no, no, but we will bind you fast and deliver you into their hand. But surely we will not kill you. And they bound him with two new cords and brought him up from the rock. Hey, Irene, how are you doing? Thank you, darling. Thank you so much for sharing out the live. I sincerely appreciate that. And when he came unto Lehi, hold on there, because that Samson here, if you don't follow this Samson here, him is not easy at all. This Samson here is not easy. Not easy. Hold on, people. Let me find this something here so I look for. All right, let us continue. We are on to verse 14 of Judges chapter 15. So follow along, guys. Hope you are following along. And when he came on to Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his hands loosed off his hands. So you see, Samson was so strong. His strength ride him. You understand? Him have too much strength. He don't know what to do with it. So after then tie him up, to carry him down, go give him to the Philistines. Him just muscle up, and the car where them tie him up with just bust up. I'm explaining it so that we all understand it. So no cord, no rope couldn't hold Samson together. And all Samson had to do is to call unto the Spirit of his Lord. Because remember, the Lord said, Samson was going to be a Nazarite. Samson's hair was never going to be cut. And we believe the hair is his strength, right? That's what we were taught. So now, see, Samson, he has caused all of this rope that they used to tie him up to be all destroyed, into frazzle. So now he's free again. And this is verse 15 now. And he found a new jawbone of an ass. He found a donkey jawbone. Yes, Winsome. Him strong. Him strong beyond words. That's why he could kill a lion with his bare hands. Now he found the jawbone of an ass. He found a donkey jawbone, and put forth his hand and took it, and slew 1,000 men with it. Samson alone slew 1,000 men with one donkey jawbone. And Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. So now see all the things that Samson doing. First, he kill a lion with him bare hands. Then him go down there with this riddle. When him lose the riddle, and him have to pay up the people, them he not have what to pay them. He went to another town and he slew 30 men, and he got the 30 sheets and the 30 garments from the 30 men he slew. He brought that, give it back to the Philistines. Then he left, went back to his people in Judah, left his wife because she was the one who deceived him and tell them the answer to the quiz, to the riddle. So he went back to Judah. Then after him stay at Judah for God knows how long, he come back now with one little baby goat to come tell his wife, to come back to come get his wife The wife father say, but you gone so long after we never know so you come back. So me give your wife to another man. But you can't take his sister. He said, him no want the sister. Him get all upset. Get all upset. And he set the people them vineyards on fire. He catch 300 fox. How Samson alone catch 300 fox? Samson caught 300 foxes. Put the fox them tail to tail and catch them on fire. And then let go the fox and make them run through the people them farm. I only in Jamaica, I know people used to do that to mongoose. Him set the 300 fox on fire, make the fox them run through the people them vineyard and olive groves and cornfields and burn it down. So the people them get upset and they slaughter the wife and her father. So now him gone back now, run gone a Mount Etam. Go and hide. Me not think of hiding, go hide. He just go back to Judah and go up on the mountain to go live up there by himself. Kind tormented. You know, see, I'm tormented. Me don't know why him can't find a peace. He gone up now on Mount Etam. When the Philistines find out that's where he is at, they might come after him, you know. Now then gone, the Philistines gone up to Judah, to where the Jews are. The people them say, we don't come up here so far. You are already ruling over us. Why are you coming up here in our little space? Them say them a look for Samson. The Jews say, well, you know something, we not pay the price for you, know, Samson. We are give you over to the Philistines. We not go kill you ourselves, but we are going you over to them. Make them do to you whatever they want. So them time up and send him over there. So I time up and give him to them. When them take him down, all him have to do is just muscle up 2 times and the little flimsy rope for them use time up, just bust up. And when the rope bust up, Samson find one donkey jawbone. And Samson alone slay 1,000 men with one donkey jawbone. Fling with the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramath Lehi. Samson is one man. And if 1,000 men stand up in front of you alone, and you are able to slaughter the whole 1,000 men without them, none of them slaughter he was very thirsty and called on the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant. And now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? But God clave a hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water. The Lord put a hollow into. Because remember, verse 17 says that's what the job won. So let us read that again. And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramath Lehi. Well, casting it out of his hand maybe no means him dash it too far. Maybe him just fling it to the ground. And he was so thirsty. He was very thirsty. Of course, after you just kill 1,000 man, you're not much tired and thirsty. And called on the Lord and said, But God clave a hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he was revived. Wherefore he called the name therefore En En Hakor, which is in Lehi until this day. What you mean by me internet I go in and out? When some me don't know what to say about it again, yeah, man, to be honest with you. We don't know what to say about it because it is supposed to be working properly and I'm using the device that is supposed to be working properly. So I not understand. Look at me, I have to start going back to doing the live on my computer. It's just that it's so much easier to do it on the phone. Cause I can just curl up on the couch or wherever I'm at and just do it. But anyway, yeah, that's where we're at, my lovely loves. All right. He called the name thereof En Hakor, which is in Lehi unto this day. Verse 20. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. All right. So for 20 years, Samson ended up being the judge of Israel for 20 years. Let us move on to verse 16. Then went Samson to Gaza and saw there a harlot, and Samson went and got it on with the harlot. And it was told the Gazites, that's how the people were in Gaza, they were called Gazites. You know, that's how, as we read along, once you hear a group of people with the ites at their name, the beginning word is the place where they're at. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in. That means them round about him, them surround him, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the city, the doors of the gate of the city, and the two posts, and went away with them, bar and all. Mighty God of Daniel. Samson, I'll ride him. I swear, Samson, I'll ride him. So him get up at midnight and him take the gates of the city off the hinges, and him take the posts, and he walk away with them, everything, and put them upon his shoulders and carried them up to the top of a hill that is before Hebron. Um, Queen, what's up, sister? What's up, baby? Trevor, I know you are reading the good book, but I need help. You need help? If you need help, text me. If you need help, sister, all you need to do is text me. That's all. You're supposed to have my number by now, it's you're supposed to have my number. So just text me. Tell me what you want. Once I got it, you got it, sis. All right. Verse 4. And it came to pass afterwards that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek. Now him just going to one harlot, Now him love one woman in the valley of Sorek. Who remember that woman the name, people? Tell me, my lovely people, what's the name of that woman now? Because this was the only woman we ever hear of with Samson. Now that we are reading for ourselves, we are really discovering about Samson. But all along I grew up, I only hear of Samson and one woman. So come on now, people. Tell me the name of this woman of Sorek. Okay, no problem. No problem, darling queen. Whitney, yeah, just text me. No big deal. Even though we are reading good book, we're not having a religious service here. What we are doing is just reading, trying to understand this book for ourselves. So nothing is wrong if you text me while I read. I'm not church me there. Yeah, so text me, bro. Nobody remember the name of the woman from Sorek. I will win some. They win some another year. You don't know the name of the woman from Sorek. Uh, yes, Whitney. Yes, that's what it is, my lovely darling. Winsome, I expected you to type that long time, you know. What's the name of the woman from Sorek who was with Sampson? That we heard about our whole lives. All right, we'll continue reading. I'm not gonna wait for y'all. Whose name was Delilah? Verse 5. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him and afflict him. And we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Here people can trick people. The trickster is getting tricked now. For those of you who don't understand what was just said right there. So Samson fell in love with Delilah. So now the Philistines, you know them always I use a woman against a strong man. Always. It is always a woman. When it comes to sex, drugs, money, always what is used to bring down a mighty man. So here is Samson, a mighty man. And now he's in love with Delilah. And here comes the Philistines. They are going to use money and the fact that he loved Delilah. They're going to use Delilah against him to find out. A woman is a man here strong, so what is it? Him kill a lion with him bare hands. Him catch 300 fox. Him kill 30 man before. Then him kill another 1,000. Him bust up the cord where we used to tie him up. This a man is strong beyond words. He lift up the gate and the gate post and put them on his shoulder and walk away with them. This man is very strong. Where is his strength? So we are going to use Delilah now to find out what is the strength so that we can be victorious against this man. And for that, each of them is going to pay her 1,100 pieces of silver. So if each of these men pay her 11 pieces of silver, they never say how many men it was. He just said, and the lords of the Philistines came up. But he didn't say how many of them there were. But however many of them, each of them is going to pay her 1,100 pieces of silver. Verse 6. Lady M is in the house. Welcome, Lady M. How are you doing, my love? So good to see you as always. Yeah, I know Lady M would get the answer. Yes, it was indeed Delilah. Let's move on to verse 6. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man. You hear that? All right. Wait, let me saw my sister Witse right here. So Witse, Which say, okay, I have a short going while, but I woke up and I saw my watch hour on Chrome at 2. Is it my regular hours? Yes, your watch hours is your watch hours, baby. Unless you have 3.9 thousand views. But if it says your watch hour, that is your watch hour. All of it is added up. All of it add up together is your watch hour. Once YT tell you this is your watch hours, this is your watch hours, baby. All right, let's do this. Let's continue. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7, how many? 7, 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs. You see how she wicked? As she now tell them, said that Samson say, that's how they knew to bring up the 7 green withs, which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the withs, as a thread of tow is broken when it toucheth the fire. So his strength was not known. You see, me say Samson full of tricks. Me say Samson full of tricks. So Samson told this to Delilah because he wanted to show that this woman was not loyal. Hold on there. Hold on there, people. Let me access this. Oh my God. Let me access this. Oh, wait there. Let me see what it says. 6, 7, 5. All right, let us continue. Which me I got talk to you about that in a little bit. Me I got talk to you about that in a little bit. Guys, let me send this 6, 7, 3. All right, let us continue. Because I'm here doing 10 different things at the same time, but I don't know, so that's how my brain function. So Samson tricked Delilah. Samson tricked Delilah by telling her that they have to use 7 green wheat to time up. If them time up with 7 green wheat, then his strength gonna be like that of an ordinary man. He's not gonna be so strong. And she run go tell the Philistines. So the Philistines brought up the 7 green wheat. And she time up with the 7 green wheat, believing that it was going to make him weak. And then she have the nerve to say to him, the Philistines are come upon you. So in break the wisdom that she used time up. In break them up. So still she realized, oh darn, I messed up. Now he knows that I'm not loyal to him. Now he knows I'm not loyal because now he knows that I was the one who told the Philistines. So now, what am I gonna do? Because nobody still knows Samson's strength, the source of Samson's strength. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me. You see now. Now she has said him mock her. Him no learn. Yes, Winsome, him no learn. But him learn, him full of tricks. Because he didn't tell her his source of strength. Him just trick her to see what she would do with the information. And exactly what he thought, that's what she did with the information. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. But Samson would have fool if he go tell Delilah that again. If him tell Delilah the truth, he would be crazy because he see what she could do with the information. And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him with it, and said unto him, the Philistines be come upon you, Samson. And there were liars, and there were liars in wait. Not liars as in your tell lie, no. They are lying in wait. So they are lying in liars in wait, abiding in the chamber. And he brake them from off his arms like a thread. So this is the second time now Delilah, him see now by this time, Samson supposed to, me don't know what kind of love so him have for Delilah, but by this time, he should have, uh, uh, um, he should have gone left Delilah by now. From the first time, when Delilah tell the Philistines, say them carry up the twigs, them time up with twigs, him a go be weak. From then, he should have left Delilah, but still, him still, when a man loves a woman, she can do no wrong. You see that? Delilah is showing herself that she is not to be trusted, and yet Samson still trusts this woman. Still in, not even said trust, because he's still telling her a lie. But the fact that he's still around her, leaving himself quite vulnerable to this woman, is questionable. All right, let us continue. Yes, Winsome, the first wife tricking. That's the first tie in the Bible. Look at God. God said that sound like the first tie in the Bible. Oh my Lord. So Delilah told him that the Philistines are lying in wait for him. And Samson burst the ropes like they were mere threads. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Here are no, here are going like the victim now. Here are going like the victim. I thought, but you see how you tell me lie? You see how you wicked, Samson? You see how you tell me lie like the man is supposed to tell you where his weakness is so that you can destroy him. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks, you see him fool, the 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awake out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. Hold on there. And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? You see what a woman wicked? You see what a woman wicked? So me block the white emoji. Me not block a thing. Me not know me love. Lord help me. You see how the woman wicked? Now the woman is blaming Samson. The woman is blaming, Delilah is blaming Samson for, I said Samson lied to her. She a fake him exactly when some right there. Can't you see what me say? What pin is that? I don't know, but I'm going to read it again for us. Verse 14. And she fastened it with the pin and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awake out of his sleep and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web, the pin of the beam and with the web. All right, that's going to explain to us later on, I assume. So let us continue. And she said unto him, how can you say that you love me when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me 3 times. All right. So 3 times. 3 times him tell her, 3 times he told her where his strength was. And the 3 times she go tell the Philistines. And 3 times he proved to her that she was deceptive. She was the deceptive one. But now she flipping the script on him to blame him. Because now he knows that if he had told her the truth the first time, he would have been dead by now. Now here I play the victim. She must have did white. She must have was either a white nurse or just a plain white woman. Because them always try to hurt you and turn on a play victim. And hast not told me where your strength is. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words. What kind of deal is Samson supposed to run with gone from this narcissistic woman long time? But him no run. Because you see him big, bad, mighty, and powerful. Him no run. When she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, what a idiot, and said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like other men. Lord of mercy. Me never know say somebody could have. Uno really believe this? Say this Samson do for real? And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up here once, come up, all of you, for he had showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought money in their hand, and she made him sleep upon her knees. That means he make her sleep, putting head in her lap. How could you trust this woman again? I mean, how could you trust this woman after each time you tell her something, even though it was a lie, you see where her heart was. She go tell. You go tell the Philistines, the men who you know are about to kill your husband. That is their objective, is to kill your husband. And when he tells you, when he trusts you and tell you a secret, you go tell the men who are planning to kill him. And this man is still with you. Till now he has poured out his heart to you. And you run go call the Philistines to tell them to come now. Because he has told me the truth now. So uno come lay with him. What are something doing, sir? How long time them something are going, So from long time, wickedness going on. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he had showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees. And she called for a man. And she caused him to shave off the 7 locks. How much locks was on Samson's head? 7, to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went away from him. His strength went away from him. But this is exactly why the Lord told them to stay away from the Philistines. Rastaman always said they hear their strength. Exactly. Hey, Lady M. Lady M said she got to run. Go ahead, darling. Be safe. Be safe, whatever you do, sweetheart. All right. Let us continue. Verse 20. And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him. But the Philistines took him and plucked out his eyes. The Philistines took him and they plucked out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and tie him up with fetters of brass. Them tie him up with some wires. Yes, wires made of brass. Them tie him up. And he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their God, and to rejoice. For they said, our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hands. So when Samson here start grow back, the Philistines cut off his hair. They kept cutting off his hair and offering it to their God, who is Dagon. Because now they know that his hair is the strength. So now Samson is blind and he's working for the Philistines. Even though them pluck out in eye them put him in the prison. I bet he learning lesson. Trust nobody. Trust nobody more than one time. I have learned that. Trust them when they deceive you the first time. Yeah, you know so that person is up to no good. You know so that person not have my interest at heart. That person would have harm me, would have hurt me. Would have hurt me. Yes. You can't trust somebody 3 times. 3 times. She proved to him how wicked she is. That she hand him over to the enemy. And because of his lust for her, he stayed with her until he eventually, she begged him and begged him and begged him and begged him to tell her. And him eventually tell her. What do you think she was going to do with the information, dog? And now the Philistine then pluck out his eye, have him in prison. Every time his ear grow, then cut off the ear and give it to their God, Dagon. And to rejoice, for they said, our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hand. And when the people saw him, they praised their God. For they said, our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. So they might call Samson now for the mackerel, they might use Samson to show boy. Yeah, man. They might use Samson now to be show boy with him climb around the city and everybody look on him and laugh and clap and say, yes, look on him. He was the strong man who killed 1,000 Philistines. He was, yeah. He was the one who set the 300 foxes in our vineyards. Look at him now, reduced to nothing. We are victorious over him. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, because remember now him blinding us, so somebody have to lead him. For him blind, remember them pluck out his eyes. And he said, boy, just give me goose pimple, because I can't believe some people can't. And Samson said unto the lad, that's the little boy that held his hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth. So he said to the little boy, oh, will it give say, love turn him fool. Exactly, love turn him. Love turn him into a madman, into a crazy man. Love turn him in an idiot. Yes, Jew, what's up? What's going on, baby? Trev, maybe them pay that lady what she get out of this. Of course, remember they said each of the lords was going to pay her 11. Let me tell you again, Winsome. Let me be sure. Winsome, you never hear this a part of the story. Where the men say, oh my God, Jojo, you driving me crazy, man. I don't know what it is. 458412. Oh my God, Juju, you're driving me crazy, man. It's kind of your job to drive me crazy. Oh Lord Jesus, don't drive your mama crazy, boy. I'm sending it to you. There it is. I just sent it. Okay. Hold on, the Winsome. Remember, they had promised her Winsome that they were each going to give her, I don't know how much, 11 pieces of silver, 11,000. Let me make sure again, guys. 1,100 Winsome. Remember, each of them was going to give her 1,100 pieces of silver. Don't forget that. So, of course, yes, she was benefiting. Each of the lords, I remember it says that when they came up after she told them about his hair, each of them came up with their money in hand. So each of them came up and gave her the 1,100 pieces of silver from each one, just to hand over Samson to them. All right. Let's continue. We are on to verse 26. So, and Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean against it. Yes. So you remember Samson say, come on. Samson said to the little boy that was leading him, just make me feel the pillars. Just make me hand rest on the pillars. Just show me where the pillars are that hold up the tabernacle, this building, this house, whatever it is. Just make me feel where the pillars are. That's all he wanted, was to feel it. He said, me just going to lean against it because me tired. Me just going to just lean against the pillar. Those pillars are those really, really big beams that hold up the building. Verse 27. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men were upon the roof. 3,000 men and women. that beheld while Samson made sport. So while them a show off Samson and them a celebrate, the whole town, the entire city, everybody came out to celebrate. Just like all to the one of them, they are England and celebrate. How was Samson there? Samson, we need you in Westminster Abbey today. Father God, mighty God of Daniel, where is Samson today? Help me, Lord. Anywho, today is the day when Samson is needed. But anywho, we are going to continue. The shenanigans of Trebestens continues over here, my friends. So while them a show off the man and make sport, making sport of him and having them big celebration. All right, using Samson as the show boy. Samson said to the little boy, just make me lean just make me lean against the walls, against the pillars right here. Let me just lean against it and let's see. Let us continue. And Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once. Only this one time, Lord. Only this one time I need your strength. This last time I need your strength, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my two eyes. Yes, because them dig out me two eye them, God me just a beg you. This is the last revenge for them. Just give me the strength today. And Samson took hold of the two middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left hand. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Want to hear that? Want to hear that? The number of people that he slew in his death was way more than the people he slew in his lifetime. Remember, in his lifetime, he slew those 30 men. Remember the 30 men he took the garments and the sheets from? And then he slew the 1,000 men with the donkey jawbone. And then, no, see? All the lords and everybody of the Philistines who were in the tabernacle, in the temple, whatever the church, the building, whatever that day, Samson shook the building. Last verse of chapter 16. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the burying place of Manoah his father. They came down. Yeah, the Jewish people came down and then took Samson's body and carried him, go bury him in the burying place of his father. Okay, we are moving on, guys. Let me see the story of Samson interesting. We are moving on to chapter 17. Thanks to those of you who are here, those of you who are following me. I sincerely appreciate you. so much. If you guys have not yet, if you are just coming in, you have not yet hit the like button, you have not yet subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do so. All right. Verse 17. And there was a man, name is a verse, chapter. We're on to chapter 17. Chapter 17. And there was a man of Mount Ephraim, whose name was Micah. A man of Mount Ephraim, whose name was Micah. And he said unto his mother, the 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from thee, about which thou cursed, and spakest of also is in my ears, behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, blessed be thou of the Lord, my son. And when he had returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother said, I had wholly dedicated the silver unto the Lord from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto thee. Yet he restored the money unto his mother. And his mother took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and they were in the house of Micah. Well, it looked like right here, so the story of Sampson was over. Now we're moving on into the story of this Micah person. Let us continue reading and hear what's going on with this Micah person. He's from Mount Ephraim. So that means that he's a descendant of Ephraim. All right. Now you follow me, because remember, when we were reading, the children of Israel were naming the places that they were given after themselves. So let us continue. Yet he restored the money unto his mother, and his mother took 200 shekels of silver, 200 shekels of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had a house of gods, and made an ephod and teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel, but every man did that which was right in his own eyes. You see, at that time, Israel had no king because they were slaves then. They could not have a king of themselves because they were slaves. So they were making these molten images to be their gods. And there was a young man out of Bethlehem, Judah. If he was out of Bethlehem, Judah, that means that he was a descendant of Judah. All right, let us continue. And there was a young man out of Bethlehem, Judah, of the family of Judah. I did read it, and there it is. Of the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he sojourned there. And the men departed out of the city from Bethlehem, Judah, to sojourn where he could find a place. And he came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and he journeyed. And Micah said unto him, whence comest thou? And he said unto him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem, Judah, and I go to sojourn where I may find a place. And Micah said unto him, dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest, and I will give thee 10 shekels of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel, and thy victuals. So the Levite went in, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man was unto him as one of his sons. And Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. Then said Micah, Now know I that the Lord will do me good, seeing I have a Levite to my priest. Okay, that story needs a little bit more clarification as to why he appointed a Levite as the priest. So now he believes that God is going to give him some blessing because of that, because the Levites, remember the Levites were supposed to be the ones who took care of the church. They were the ones, according to Moses, according to Joshua, they were the ones who took care of the church, the ones who didn't get an inheritance. But we're going to read some more to figure this all out. We are going to read verse, I keep saying verse, but we are going to read now chapter 18 of the book of Judges, for those of you who have been following us. In those days, there was no king in Israel, and in those days, the tribe of the Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in. For unto that day all their inheritance had not fallen unto them among the tribe of Israel. And the children of Dan sent of their family 5 men from their coast, men of valor from Zorah, men of valor from Zorah and from Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto them, all right, so these people, these Jewish people, remember these are Jewish people now. These are the children of Israel. These are the children of Israel. These are the descendants of Dan, the Danites. And they are sending men of valor from Zorah and from Eshtaol. Remember, that is the place where they just buried Sampson, in Zorah and Eshtaol. All right? And to search it. And they said unto them, Go search the land. Who, when they came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, they lodged there. I make them put it on live. They lodged there. When they were by the house of Micah, they knew the voice of the young man, the Levite. And they turned in thither and said unto him, Who brought you here? And what makes you in this place? And what hast thou here? And he said unto them, Thus and thus dealeth Micah with me, and hath hired me, and I am his priest. And they said unto him, Ask counsel, we pray thee, O God, that we may know whether our way which we go shall be prosperous. And the priest said unto them, Go in peace before the Lord is your way wherein you go. Then the 5 men depart and came to Laish and saw the people that were there, how they dwelt careless after the manner of the Zidonians, quiet and secure, and there was no magistrate in the land that might put them to shame in anything, and they were far from the Zidonians, and had no business with any man. All right, so the Zidonians, the Zidonians, they were just living their life. They were just living. They did not have any magistrate. Them not nobody to shame them, to counsel them, to chastise them about anything that they were doing. So they were just doing whatever it was they wanted to do. And I am wondering if the Zidonians were practicing homosexuality. I'm not sure. But right here kind of give me that kind of vibe. He said they had no magistrate to put them to shame in anything. So there was nobody to judge them. And they were far from the Zidonians and had no business with any man. So that means they were so different from the Zidonians. They had no business with no man. They weren't with men. They were with women. Let us continue. Let me not inject my thoughts here before I have read it, and it has specifically said so. Verse 8, and they came unto their brethren to Zorah and Eshtaol, and their brethren said unto them, what say ye? And they said, arise, that we may go up against them, for we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And are ye still? Be not slothful to go and to enter to possess the land. When he go, he shall come unto a people secure and to a large land, for God hath given it into your hands, a place where there is no want of anything that is in the earth. And there went from thence of the family of the Danites, out of Zorah and out of Eshtaol, 600 men appointed with wagons of war. And they went up and pitched in Kirjath Jearim in Judah. Wherefore they called that place Mahane Dan unto this day. Behold, it is behind Kirjath Jearim. And they passed thence unto Mount Ephraim, and came unto the house of Micah. Then answered the 5 men that went to spy out the country of Laish, and said unto their brethren, do he know that there is in their houses an ephod, and teraphim, and a graven image, and a molten image? Now therefore consider what ye have to do. And they turned thitherward, and came to the house of the young man the Levite, even unto the house of Micah, and saluted him. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were of the children of Dan, stood by the entering of the gate. And the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up, and came in thither, and took the graven image, and the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image. And the priest stood in the entering of the gate with the 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war. And these went into Micah's house, and fetched the carved images, the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image. Then said the priest unto them, What are you doing? And they said unto him, hold thy peace, lay thine hand upon thy mouth, and go with us, and be to us a father and a priest. It is better for thee to be a priest unto the house of one man, or is it better for thee to be a priest unto the house of one man, or that thou be a priest unto a tribe and the family in Israel? And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the teraphim and the graven image, and went in the midst of the people. So they turned and departed, and put the little ones and the cattle and the carriage before them. And when they were a good way from the house of Micah, the men that were in the houses near to Micah's house were gathered together, and overtook the children of Dan. And they cried unto the children of Dan, and they turned their faces, and said unto Micah, What aileth thee? What that thou comest with such a company? So, that's what they said to Micah. What aileth you? What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why you have all this company here? And he said, He have taken away my gods which I had made, and the priests, and he are gone away. And what have I more? And what is this that he say unto me? What aileth me? And the children of Dan said unto him, Let not thy voice be heard among us, lest angry fellows run upon thee, and thou lose thy life, with the lives of thy household. And the children of Dan went their way. And when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back into his house. And they took the things which Micah had made, and the priest which he had, and came unto Laish, unto a people that were at quiet and secure. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and burnt the city with fire. Boy, I tell you. Verse 28. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zidon. So these people were Zidonians, but they were far away from the actual city of Zidon. And here they were doing what they were doing in their city. It said they were at quiet and secure, meaning I guess they were asleep in their city of Laish. And the children of Dan went up and slew them because they saw the land, that land was good. They wanted that land. We are going to continue this reading because we want to know more about these Zidonians and what they were practicing up there. Verse 28 says, And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zidon, and they had no business. Oh, yeah. Okay. And they had no business with any man. And it was in the valley that lieth by Beth Rahab. And they built a city and dwelt therein. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan, their father, who was born unto Israel. Howbeit, the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh. Guys, you all remember hold on there. All right, let us continue. You all remember when we were reading the book of Nehemiah, as we were reading the book on this foundation, you all remember that there was Gershom, the father of Jonathan. Um, hold on, the people. What is? I'm not sure. I think it's a S20. I don't know if it's a S22. I'm not sure. But anyway, let us continue. You remember when we were reading the book of Nehemiah and on this foundation that there was Jonathan? Remember there was Jonathan, the son of Gershom? And Jonathan was sent to Judah to infiltrate Nehemiah's camp. And he ended up being one of Nehemiah's aide, one of the three aides. And he was in all of Nehemiah's meetings and listening to all the plans Nehemiah had and passing back the plans to Gershom and to Sambalat and the rest of them. Y'all remember that? That's why I tell you all the stories here. All the stories here are joined together. All right. So here in verse 30 of chapter 18, it says, and the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set them up Micah's graven image, which he made all the time that the house of God was in Shiloh. We keep the information that we get because we never know when we're going to need to use it. So that is where we had heard the word Jonathan before and Gershom. And I believe it is the same person. But we're going to continue. We are going to continue with the reading because I'm still not sure that these Zidonians, that whether or not they were practicing homosexuality, and that is why the Gadites, the Danites kept saying that they had no business with any man. And remember, it said that they were just living. They didn't have a magistrate. They didn't have anybody to tell them what was right or wrong. They were just living, just doing whatever they want. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. That's what they were doing. All right. All the people that they smote and took away their stuff are people who were a threat to them. Now, the Zidonians were not a trick. They were a peaceful people, and the tribe of Dan went and slaughtered them all. Okay. There you go. All right. All right. All right. They're done. God has given us her peace about this. We are going to continue reading, see if we get some more clarity from the scriptures. Verse 9, chapter 19. We are on to chapter 19. Because God, for sure it said that they were sleeping. They were quiet and secure. They said that these people, according to chapter 18 and verse 27, he said these people were a quiet and secure people. And the children of Dan went up and destroyed them. We are on to chapter 19. This is the last chapter for today. We are reading. And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house, to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. And her husband arose and went after her, to speak kindly unto her, and to bring her again, having his servant with him, and a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, And he abode, that means he dwelt, he lived with him for 3 days. For 3 days. So they did eat and drink and lodged there. And it came to pass on the fourth day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son in law, comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterwards go on your way. And they sat down and did eat and drink, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thy heart be merry. And when the man rose up to depart, his father in law urged him. Therefore he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the fifth day to depart. And the damsel's father said, comfort thine heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until afternoon, and they did eat, both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father in law, the damsel's father, said unto him, behold, now the day draweth towards evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home. What's going on here? The man want to leave on the fourth day. You tell him to stay. You come up with something, you make him stay. Then you come up with something on the fifth day. Now you come up with something again on the sixth day. What's going on here? All right, God said they weren't homosexuals. They were just living their lives peacefully away from other human beings, just among themselves. Okay. All right. So I guess that's what they were saying when they said they had no business with any man. That means they weren't worried about anybody else. They were just living their own lives. All right, that makes sense because it never said that. It was just that my mind went there. Anywho, I'm always glad for the clarifications and for the input from the people in the chat. And I thank you, Kad, as always. You always are always on point. But the man, we're on verse 10 of chapter 19. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed, and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled, his concubine also was with him. And when they were by Jebus, the day was far spent, and the servant said unto his master, come, I pray thee, and let us turn into this city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, we will not turn aside either into the city of a stranger, that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. And he said unto his servant, come, and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night in Gibeah, or in Ramah. And they passed on and went their way. And the sun went down upon them when they were by Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. All right, Gibeah belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither to go in and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in a street of the city. For there was no man that took him into his house to lodge. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at evening, which was also of Mount Ephraim. And he sojourned in Gibeah, but the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, whither thou goest? And whither comest thou? And he said unto him, we are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, towards the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I, and I went to Bethlehem, Judah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there is no man that receiveth me in his house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want of anything. And the old man said, Peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me. Only lodge not in the street. So here the old man was extending kindness to them. He said, Come, come into my house. Hey, servant David, how are you doing? He said, Come into my house. The food you're going to eat, the grass you're going to give to your asses, the food for you and your servant is all upon me. But don't stay in the street. Come on in. Verse 21. So he brought him into his house and gave him provender for his asses, and they washed their feet and did eat and drink. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into your house, that we may know him. Hold on, make us continue reading that. Remember, as we had read before, the same thing had happened with Lot. You all remember down in Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angels had come to visit Lot, and the men saw that the men had gone into Lot's house. They came beating down the door because they wanted the men to go live with, to go be with, to go be homosexuals with. Y'all remember? Now here is the same thing. So maybe my thought was really in line. But let us continue. Because remember what happened to those men, right? They were all smart with blindness. Let us continue. And the man, this is verse 23 now of chapter 19 in the book of Judges we are at. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into my house. Do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter. They may not tell us that the man them are homosexual. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I will bring out now, and humble he them. You see that? The old man, is giving these men his daughter, his virgin daughter, and his concubine, and telling them, go on and humble them. Remember, that's what the Bible calls it. When a man sleep with you, him humble you. Remember when we were reading in the book of Joshua? Was it in the book of Joshua or the book of Deuteronomy? One of them. But remember when we were reading there, and it said that the man who sees a damsel was never been confounded. You have never been touched. You're a virgin. You're a maiden, and he lie with you. He has humbled you. Y'all remember that we read that? So he must keep you for the rest of your life as his wife, because he was the one who humbled you. So when they talk about a man humbling a woman, that is what they mean. He was the first man to her. Okay, let us continue this reading. Verse 24 says, behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. That's what the man said to these men who was knocking down his door, trying to get to the men that were in his house. Them I will bring out now, and humble he them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not such vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her and abused her all the night until the morning. You hear that in the Bible? And in the Bible, listen. The man give them in concubine because they were coming after the stranger that was in his house. They wanted the man to go sleep with. And I mean, say it at the Bible. They saw that the man had come into the old man's house. They wanted to get to him, a strange man. They wanted to get him to go deal with him business, deal with him case in the way that they deal with men. And he gave them the concubine instead. And they abused her all night. I mean, one of them take turns and rape the woman the whole night. Mighty God of Daniel. This is in verse 25 of chapter 19 of the book of Judges. And he brought her forth, and they knew her and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. All right, let us continue. Then came that verse 26. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day and fell down at the door of the man's house where her Lord was, till it was light. So then the woman, oh my God. And her Lord rose up in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her up upon an ass, and the man rose up and got him unto his way. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife and lay hold on his concubine and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces and sent her into all the coast of Israel. And this is verse 30. And it was so that all that saw it said, there was no such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt until this day. Consider of it that advice and speak your minds. Okay, that is the end of chapter 19 of the book of Judges. And there is a lot to unpack in that chapter right there. There is a lot to unpack. There is a lot to understand right there. Right there. A whole lot. I'm thinking in my mind, based on the reading, my understanding of it is saying, let me see what Kat said, but this is not the Zidonites, it's another place, isn't it? Well, according to the reading here, That's the place where he was going through. It did say in chapter 18, and verse 27, in Laish, they did slaughter the people with the edge of the sword and burn down that city. But that didn't mean to say that these people were not extended beyond. Because remember, them didn't have no magistrate, didn't have nobody over them. Everybody was doing as they please. There was no law, there was no order, there was no rule. There was nobody saying to them, you can't do this, you can't do that. If you do this, this is your punishment. There was no punishment, there was nothing. There was nothing. So that is not to say that the practice wasn't continuing all along that route. Because here it does say these people were coming into the old man's house to get the man who had just come in, the stranger who had just come in to the house. So I am sure that as we read along, we are going to get more clarity as we continue to read the book of Judges. We are going to get more clarity on that situation because it so reminds me of the time of Lot. For those of you who have been reading with me, the time of Lot, where the angels had come to Lot's house to tell him to get out of Sodom and Gomorrah because it was going to be destroyed by fire. And when the men of the city saw the two men going into Lot's house, they started beating on Lot's door, just the same way as they were beating on this old man's door. And when they were smitten with blindness, they continued beating on the door, saying that the strange men who had come in, they wanted those strange men to go be with. Okay? And even though Lot told them he would give them their daughter, them don't want no woman. Them don't want the daughters. Them want a man, them want. The same way right here. The man gave them his concubine, and the whole of them take the concubine, and the whole of them take turns and rape the concubine all night. And when the concubine come back, the man take the concubine and cut her up in 12 pieces. Verse 29 of chapter 19 of Judges says, and when he was come into his house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces. And sent her on to the children of all the coast of Israel. Oh my. Oh my. We can talk about it. I know what the tribe of Dan took the Sidonian city and started worshiping their idols, but never. Yeah, we will see one of the reasons why his tribe was left out of Revelation. Oh God, you have read ahead of me, and you kind of and you got the scoop and the juice. Cause here you talking about Revelation. We ain't get there yet, baby. But we will see. We will see, as you say, my sister. We will see as we read along exactly what happened here. And if we don't get to find it, this would be one of those mysterious chapters that has left us wondering what is happening, what has happened. But we will see. When we come back tomorrow morning, my friends, we will be reading from chapter 20 of the book of Judges. Oh, guess what, guys? Guess what? Since we have time this morning, we are going to continue reading because the book of Judges actually has only 21 chapters. Only 21 chapters it has, and we have 2 more to go. So why not? Let us continue reading. Those of you who are with me, I guess the others went to go watch the coronation I hope Samson show up at the coronation. If you know what I mean, you know. But then again, let us continue. Let us continue. We are going to read Judges 21 and 22. I mean, what am I saying? Judges 20 and 21, since we are so close to the end. All right, let's go. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man, from Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of Gilead unto the Lord in Mizpeh. And the chief of all the people, even of all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of God. 400,000 footmen that drew sword. How much? 400,000 footmen, that 400,000 warriors. Now, the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpeh. Then said the children of Israel, tell us, how was this wickedness? Tell us, how was this wickedness? And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain. Hold on, then I said the woman was a concubine. Anyway, and the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I come into Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin, I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me, and beset the house round about upon me by night, and thought to have slain me, and my concubine have they forced, that she is dead. And I took my concubine, and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Okay, what is the lewdness and the folly? All right, let us continue. Verse 7 says, behold, ye are all children of Israel. Give here your advice and counsel. And all the people arose as one man, saying, we will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn into his house. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it. And we will take 10 men. We will take 10 men of 100 of a hundred throughout all the tribes of Israel. So they're going to take 10 men out of every 100 of the tribe of Israel, and 100 of every 1,000. So they are taking 1/10 of the men. Because they're taking 10 out of every 100. It's going to be 100 out of every 1,000. It's going to be 1,000 out of every 10,000. It is going to be 10,000 out of every 100,000. So that is 10%. Verse 10 says, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 out of 10,000 to fetch victual for the people, that they may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly that they have wrought in Israel. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. Verse 12. And the tribes of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness is this that is done among you? Now therefore deliver us the men, the children of Belial, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and put away evil in Israel. So here it is, the children of Belial, which was in Gibeah. That is where the people are who are practicing this thing. So they want to go down now and slaughter all of them so that they will put away this evil from Israel. But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, the children of Israel. But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel. So you see, the children of Benjamin are now planning to go fight against the other children of Israel. And the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men. 26,000 men that drew sword beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Among all these people, there were 700 chosen men left-handed. 700 left-handed men. Aye. Everyone which sling stones at a hair breadth and not miss. So the left-handed people, them no miss. You ever, me have one auntie there with left-handed. So my auntie fling sitting after you, it now miss, no brother. So here in the Bible it said there were 700 left-handed men who could sling stones at an hair breadth and not miss. Aye. And the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000. You hear it? And the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000 men that drew sword. All these were men of war. And the children of Israel arose and went up to the house of God and asked counsel of God and said, which of us shall go up first to the battle against the children of Benjamin? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up first. I wonder why Judah? Why Judah? And the children of Israel rose up in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Israel put themselves in array to fight against them at Gibeah. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of the Israelites that day 22,000 men. They destroyed 22,000 men. And the people, the men of Israel, encouraged themselves and set their battle again in array in the place where they put themselves in array the first day. And the children of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until evening, and asked counsel of the Lord, saying, shall I go up again to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? And the Lord said, go up against him. And the children of Israel came near against the children of Benjamin on the second day. And Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah on the second day, and destroyed down to the ground of the children of Israel again 18,000 men, all these that drew the sword. Then all the children of Israel and all the people went up and came unto the house of God and wept. So they went up. So they went up against Benjamin, and they destroyed 22,000 men. And then they went up again against Benjamin on the second day, And the Benjaminites, the people of Benjamin, destroyed. Okay. So they destroyed 18,000 of the children of Israel. Okay. So we're getting there. So children of Israel, they went up against Benjamin the first day, and they destroyed a total of 22,000 men. And then on the second day, there was a war again, and the children of Israel lost 18,000 men. Then all the children of Israel and all the people went up and came into the house of God and wept and sat there before the Lord and fasted that day until evening and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And the children of Israel inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. And Phinehas, remember who was Phinehas? Remember who was Phinehas, guys? Phinehas was Aaron's grandson. So this was not too long after Moses died, after Aaron died, because if Phinehas is in the story, Phinehas was Aaron's grandson. Let's continue reading. And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, yes, remember Eleazar was a priest appointed by his father Aaron. The son of, okay, here it is. The son of Aaron. Oh, no, sister, my brain not too bad. See that so? And Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, stood before it in those days, saying, shall I yet again go up to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? Or shall I cease? So here is Phinehas, Aaron's grandson, asking the Lord, you want me to really go back up and fight the Benjamins? Knowing that the Benjamins are also Jews, they are also a part of us. You really want me to go back up or you want me to stop? And the Lord said, go up, for tomorrow I will deliver them into your hand. And Israel set liars. You know the liars, they mean that the people them who lie in wait. The people them who go lay wait other people to kill them. Yes, those are called the liars. Liers. That's what it means in the Bible. And Jerusalem set liars in wait round about Gibeah. And the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the third day and put themselves in array against Gibeah, as at other times. And the children of Benjamin went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. And they began to smite of the people and kill, as at other times, in the highways, of which one goeth up to the house of God, and the other to Gibeah in the field, about 30 men of Israel. And the children of Benjamin said, they are smitten down before us, as at the first. But the children of Israel said, let us flee and draw them from the city onto the highways. That was another trick that we saw. Joshua had used that trick up in Ai. Remember? He had used that trick to have the enemy, have a few people go after the enemy. And when the enemy starts going after those warriors, it sort of lead them out of the city into a trap, because the other people are surrounding the city, waiting for them to fall into the trap. So here they are employing that tactic again. And the verse 32, and the children of Benjamin said, they are smitten down before us, as at the first. But the children of Israel said, let us flee and draw them from the city unto the highways. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and put themselves in array at Baal Tamar. And the liers in wait of Israel came forth out of their places, even out of the meadows of Gibeah. And there came against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men of all Israel. 10,000 chosen men of all Israel. And the battle was sore, but they knew not that evil was near them. And the Lord smote Benjamin before Israel, and the children of Israel destroyed the Benjaminites that day, 25,100 men. 25,100 Benjaminites were slain by the Israelites on that day. So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, for the men of Israel gave place to the Benjaminites, because they trusted unto the layers in wait, which they had set beside Gibeah. And the layers in wait hasted and rushed upon Gibeah, and the liers in wait drew themselves along and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the layers in wait, that they should make a great flame with smoke rise up out of the city. And when the men of Israel retired in the battle, Benjamin began to smite and kill of the men of Israel about 30 persons. For they said, surely they are smitten down before us, as in the first battle. But when the flame began to rise up out of the city with a pillar of smoke, the Benjaminites looked behind them, and behold, the flame of the city ascended up to heaven. And when the men of Israel turned again, the men of Benjamin were amazed, for they saw that evil was come upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel unto the way of the wilderness. But the battle overtook them, and them which came out of the cities they destroyed in the midst of them. Thus they enclosed the Benjaminites round about, and chased them, and trod them down with ease over against Gibeah towards the sun rising. And there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men. All these were men of valor. And they turned and fled towards the wilderness into the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men, and pursued hard after them into Gidom, and slew 1,000 men of them. Mighty God of Daniel, all is slain. There were 5,000 men, and they slew 2,000. So that means 3,000 escaped. So that all which fell that day of Benjamin were 25,000 men. All these were men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled to the wilderness. How many men went into the wilderness? 600 men turned and fled to the wilderness unto the rock of Rimmon, and abode in the rock Rimmon for 4 months. I wonder why they remained up there for 4 months. Hey, I tell you, gay, these were children of God. And they said the Lord was directing them to overcome their enemies. Oh, yes. And the men of Israel turned again upon the children of Benjamin, and smote them with the edge of the sword, as well as the men of every city, as the beast, and all that came to hand. Also they set on fire all the cities that they came to. So you see it. They said the Benjaminites, they were causing a curse on the city because of their lewd behavior. They were causing a curse on the children of Israel. So they set up against their own. Remember, you know, these people, they are loyal to you as long as you all are uh, in agreement that you are loyal to the same God. Even if you are their brother. Remember what they did to Achan. Remember what they did to him. He was one of them. And because he stole those things in Jericho, it was causing them to lose men in the war because he had caused a curse upon them by having stolen the gold and the silver and the garment. So for them to get rid of that curse, they had to get rid of him. So that's why they stoned him and his household to death. And then after that, they started winning battles again. Now, here, these Benjaminites up here, they are being lewd. And you know what that means? That's what they are practicing. So, because of that, the Israelites are losing men in war. So you cannot be among us because of you. That is why we are losing men in battle. So guess what? We are going to destroy you, all of Uno. We have to destroy all of Uno and burn Uno city so that we can be pure again. Exactly, God. So even themselves they would torture if they write and offend them. Exactly. That's what they meant. Anybody, if it offend you, get rid of it. Hmm. Exactly. That was what they lived by. If because of you, if you are in my house and because of you, the neighbors hate me, the Lord is causing a curse to befall my house because you are in here. I have to join with my people and get rid of you. That's what it is. So that is why the children of Israel set up on the Benjaminites because it said they were practicing lewd behaviors. And because of that, their God was not tarrying with them because of the Benjaminites. So they had to get rid of them. Even though the Benjaminites were the children of Israel as well. Because remember, Benjamin was also from the descendants of the children of Israel. Ha ha. Guys, I tell you, let us continue. Chapter 21, and this is the last chapter in the book of Judges. Now the men of Israel had sworn in Mizpeh, saying, These shall not any of us give his daughter unto Benjamin to wife. All right. So any of the Benjamin them were left, you now give our daughters to them. But after them, I want no woman. Anywho, not giving them to any of our daughters to wife. And the people came to the house of God and abode there till evening before God, and lifted up their voices and wept, and said, O Lord God of Israel, why is this come to us in Israel, that there should be today one tribe lacking in Israel? There's one tribe missing, the tribe of Benjamin. Isa. And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early and built there an altar and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the children of Israel said, Who is there among all the tribes of Israel that came not up with the congregation unto the Lord? For they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up to the Lord in Mizpeh, saying, He shall surely be put to death. And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin, their brother. So now them really sorry. So they had to do what they did to the Benjaminites. They're really sorry because now they are gone up to the house and they are crying to God and saying, Look, all of us come up here and leave the Benjaminites because of their behavior. We had to slaughter them. So let us hear what their Lord said to them. Verse 6 says, And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin their brother, and said, There is one tribe cut off from Israel this day. How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing we have sworn by the Lord that we will not give them of our daughters to wife? And they said, What one is there of the tribes of Israel that came not up to Mizpeh to the Lord? And behold, there came none to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. For the people were numbered, and behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead there. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, Go and smite the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the children and with the women and the children. And this is the thing that he shall do. He shall utterly destroy every male and every woman that hath lain by man. Oh, Jesus. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins. They found 400 young virgins that had known no man by lying with any male. And they brought them unto the camp to Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. So here the children of Israel went down to Jabesh Gilead, and their instructions was to slay every man and every woman who has ever been with a man. And now when they went down there, they found 400 young girls, 400 virgins. And they brought back the 400 virgins to the camp. And the whole congregation sent some to speak to the children of Benjamin that were in the rock of Rimmon. Remember, some of them escaped, Some of the Benjaminites escaped the slaughter and ran to the rock of Rimmon to live. So now in verse 14, it said, verse 13, and the whole congregation sent some to speak to the children of Benjamin that were in the rock Rimmon, and to call peaceably unto them. And Benjamin came again at that time, and they gave them wives, which they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead. And yet so they sufficed them not. So those 400 virgins, they gave those 400 virgins that they took out of Jabesh Gilead and gave them to the Benjaminites that they went to fetch off of Rock Rimmon. And the people repented them for Benjamin, because that the Lord had made a breach in the tribes of Israel. Then the elders of the congregation said, How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, There must be an inheritance for them that be escaped of Benjamin, that a tribe be not destroyed out of Israel. Oh my. Howbeit, we may not give them wives of our daughters, for the children of Israel have sworn, saying, Cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. So they have already decided that they are not going to give any of their daughters to the Benjaminites. Because remember, they wanted to marry each other, all the children of Israel, all 12 tribes, they marry among themselves. But now they have decided that they are not going to have their daughters marry the Benjaminites. But now they are having second thoughts. Because, why? I mean, we are all one people. So with the Benjaminites thrown from among us because of their lewd behavior, we are only now going to be 7 tribes. We can't have that. It's got to be the 12 tribes. So we're going to go get back we're going to go get back the Benjaminites who escaped up to Mount Rimron, up to Mount Rimmon. We are going to get those, and we are going to give them not our daughters, but the daughters out of Gilead, out of Jabesh Gilead, and let them take those for their wives. But they shall come back among us. Those that survived, they shall come back among us, because we cannot have the tribe of Israel being reduced to 11. It must remain 12. Verse 19 said, Then they said, Behold, there is a feast of the Lord in Siloah yearly, in a place which is on the north side of Bethel, on the east side of the highway that goeth up from Bethel to Shechem, and on the south of Lebanon. Therefore they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, Go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Siloah come out to dance in the dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Siloah, and go to the land of Benjamin. Watch yourself. Lord, help them. So you hear the instructions they give to the Benjamin men. They say they must go out in the vineyard, and when the daughters of Siloah come out into the field to dance, they must catch one and take them back to the land of Benjamin. Go repopulate the land. And it shall be, when their fathers or their brethren come out unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, Be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserved not to each man his wife in the war, for he did not give unto them at this time, that he should be guilty. What a piece of trickery. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they caught, and they went and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities, and dwelt in them. So after the other children of Israel burned down the cities of Benjamin, slaughtered all those men, because they said they were committing lewd behaviors down there. So they slaughtered all those men, and some of the men escaped, went to Rimmon. Then the children of Israel went up to Siloah, went to the congregation. They said to the Lord, come on now. We are being reduced to 11 tribes when we are supposed to be 12 tribes. We cannot have that. So what are you going to do? So then it was agreed that they are going up to Rimmon. They're going to get the Benjaminites that had escaped up there, bring them back to Siloah. But they are going to maintain that they will not allow their daughters to marry the Benjaminites. They're not going to allow that. They are maintaining that. But they say, well, they are our brethren. So if we're not going to let them marry our daughters, what are we going to do to re-establish the Benjaminites? What are we going to do? And he sent them. He said, go on down there to this land. To this land this land which is across over there in Bethel, across the highway which goeth from Bethel to Shechem, on the south of Lebanon. You will see the girls are going to come out to dance. When the girls come out to dance, just grab one. Just catch them like you catch chicken. Catch them and take one. Take anyone you catch, that is going to be your wife. Hey. And when you catch them, go back to the cities that belonged to Benjamin. Go back to those cities and re-establish your inhabitation of those cities. Rebuild them. The same cities that children of Israel just burned down, He said, go back and rehabilitate those cities. Rebuild the walls, rebuild the buildings, and establish a new generation down there. So that was the time when they was about to rebuild the city. Yes. So the Benjaminites went back to rebuild their city with these wives that they had caught in the fields over there by Bethel, by Lebanon. And you hear the children of Israel tell them, when the men come out, come complain that their daughters are missing. When the men come out to complain that their daughters are missing, they will tell them. Let me read this again. Verse 22. And it shall be when their fathers or their brethren come out unto us to complain, that we will say unto them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserved not to each man his wife in the war, for he did not give unto them at this time that he should be guilty. You get it? So here these men tell the man them, the Benjaminites who escaped. Uno go on over there, so over Bethel, this over Lebanon, over there, so. And wait until the woman them come out and grab them. Each one and grab one wife. When the girls come out to dance. When the girls come out to play. Our name again. You remember that riddle, that little nursery rhyme that we used to say as kids? How we go again? But when the girls came out to play, Georgie Porgy run away. Georgie Porgy pudding and pie kissed the girls and made them cry. So they grabbed a wife and go back to Benjamin. Meaning Benjamin now, this is the place. We're not talking about the man Benjamin, no, we're talking about the place. Because Benjamin named his inheritance the land of after himself, which was what many of the children, which was what the children of Israel did. They named the places after themselves. So it's like they would name, if it's Florida, they would name Florida after themselves. So Florida would be Benjamin, but then it has all these different cities and towns and municipalities. Right. So now they tell the men, catch a woman and call her your wife, because during the war we slew all the women. So no woman no left for uno. No woman no left for uno take for wife. So just go and catch one of those women and take them to your wife and go back over there to Benjamin and repopulate the community, rebuild the city that we burnt down. And they said, when the fathers come out and ask us, we're going to tell them, come on, man, just be nice. Just be nice, man. These are our brothers. These are our brothers, and they need to repopulate their city. So just be nice. They are good people, and they taking to themselves a wife. Just be nice. And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they caught, and they went and returned unto their inheritance, and repaired the cities, and dwelt in them. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. Verse 25, and this is the last verse in the book of Judges. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. At that time, there was no king in Israel. Every man did what he felt was right in his own eyes. So you see the people that rule themselves. The people that rule themselves. Anything them think is right in their eyes, that is what they are doing. Georgie Porgy. What else me fi say? I must Georgie Porgy. Because if you just lay wait a woman to come out of her house to go dance in the fields. And I think when they mean dance, that means the woman going in the fields to go work in the field. They call it dance. Because me not think it's dancing and shaking the bam bam. I think they come out of the house going to the field. Remember the women go out to go fetch water. they go in the fields to go help their fathers, pick corn and tend to the animals and something. So when the women go out, them grab them. Just grab a woman. Grab a woman and run away with her. When the fathers start complaining that their daughters are being taken, where the daughters gone, the Israelites want compassion. Tell them to be compassionate to these men because these are our brothers. So them just take a wife. Lord help my soul. But anyway, guys. Anyway, my friends, that is going to be the end of the reading for this morning. That is going to be the end of the reading from the Bible. I hope you all enjoyed the reading as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. There's just so much to unpack in the Bible. There's just so much to unpack here in the Bible, But we are going to continue reading. When we come back tomorrow, we will begin with the book of Ruth. Yes, we will begin tomorrow with the book of Ruth. That's why men still hold on and take it away from. Yeah, none of it is right. None of it. None of it is right, my love. None of it. But we are going to continue reading. I'm sure we are going to find a lot more clarity. So what in the world is going on here? And what else happened to the children of Israel? God, it came to mind, but it left to you to say because I wouldn't say it. So Almighty God, it's so funny. This is so funny. So guys, I'm going to see if I find any more literature to read about this because for sure. Hold on there. Hold on there. I know I saw something. Don't move, guys. Don't move. I'm going to share something with you. All right. So this is something that I had found on the internet. Of the book of Judges, talking about the book of Judges and its summary, the summary of the book of Judges. Hold on there. We will castrate them. Oh my God. All right, let us listen to this. Let's see if we listen to this. Let's see if we listen
to the book of Judges. So remember, after Joshua led the tribes of Israel into the promised land, he called them to be faithful to their covenant with God by obeying. Tells the story of Israel's total failure. The book's name comes from the type of leaders Israel had in this period. Before they had any kings, the tribes were all governed by these judges. Now, don't think of a courtroom. These were regional political military leaders, more like a tribal chieftain. And you need to be warned, the book of Judges is very disturbing and violent. It tells the tragic tale of Israel's moral corruption, of its bad leadership, and basically how they become no different than the Canaanites. But this sad story is also meant to generate hope for the future. And you can see this in how the book's designed. There's a large introduction that sets the stage for Israel's failure as they don't drive out the remaining Canaanites. Section is really disturbing and shows the corruption of the people of Israel as a whole. So let's dive in and we can explore. There was still a lot of land to be taken and lots of Canaanites living in those areas. And so chapter 1 gives a long list of Canaanite groups and towns that Israel just failed to drive out from the land. Now, remember, the whole point of driving out the Canaanites was to avoid their moral corruption and their way of worshiping the gods through child sacrifice. God had called Israel to be a holy people, and that does not happen. Chapter 2 describes how Israel just moved in alongside the Canaanites and adopted all their cultural and religious practices. And it's right here that the story stops. For nearly a whole chapter, the narrator gives us an overview of everything that's about to happen in the body allow them to be conquered and oppressed by the Canaanites. And eventually, the Israelites would see the error of their ways and repent. So God would raise up a deliverer, a judge from among Israel who would defeat the enemy and bring about an era of peace. But eventually, Israel would sin again and it would all start over. This cycle provides the literary design and flow for the next main section of the book. It gets repeated for each of the 6 main judges whose stories are told here. Now, the stories of the first 3 judges, Othniel, Ehud, and Deborah, they are epic adventures. They're also extremely bloody stories. Either the judge themselves or people who help the judge, they defeat their enemies and deliver the people of Israel. The stories about the next 3 judges are longer, and they focus in on the character flaws of the judges, which get increasingly worse. So Gideon, he begins pretty well. He's a coward of a man, but he eventually comes to trust that God can save Israel through him. And so he defeats a huge army of Midianites with only 300 men carrying torches and clay pots. But Gideon has a nasty temper, and he murdered a bunch of fellow Israelites for not helping him in his battle. And then it all goes downhill from there. He makes an idol from the gold that he won in his battles. And then after he dies, all Israel worships the idol as a god, and the cycle begins again. The next main judge is Jephthah, who's something of a mafia thug living up in the hills. And when things get really bad for Israel, the elders come to him begging for his help. And Jephthah was a very effective leader. He won lots of battles against the Ammonites, but he was so unfamiliar with the God of Israel, he treats him like a Canaanite god. He vows to sacrifice his daughter if he wins the battle. This tragic story, it shows just how far Israel has fallen. They no longer know the character of their own God, which leads to murder and to false worship. The last judge, Sampson, is by far the worst. His life began full of promise, but he has no regard for the God of Israel. He was promiscuous, violent, and arrogant. He did win brutally strategic victories over the Philistines, but only at the expense of his own integrity, and his life ends in a violent rush of mass murder. Now, a quick note here. You'll notice a repeated theme in the main section of the book, that at key moments, God's Spirit will empower each of these judges to accomplish these great acts of deliverance. Now, the fact that God uses these really screwed up people doesn't mean he endorses all or even any of their decisions. God is committed first and foremost to saving his people, but all he has to work with is these corrupt leaders. And so work with them he does. This whole section is designed to show just how bad things have gotten. You can't even tell the Israelites and the Canaanites apart anymore, and that's just the leaders. The final section shows Israel as a whole hitting bottom. There are two tragic stories here, and they are not for the faint of heart. They're structured by this key line that gets repeated 4 times at the close of the book. In those days, Israel had no king, and everyone did what was right in their own eyes. The first story is about an Israelite named Micah who builds a private temple to an idol, and that gets plundered by a private army sent from the tribe of Dan. So they come and they steal everything, and then they go and burn down the peaceful city of Laish and murder all of its inhabitants. It's a horrifying story. When Israel forgets its God, might makes right. The final story of the book is even worse. It's a shocking tale of sexual abuse and violence, which all leads to Israel's first civil war. It's very disturbing. And that's the point. These stories are meant to serve as a warning. Israel's descent into self-destruction is the result of turning away from the God who loves them and saved them out of slavery in Egypt. And now Israel needs to be delivered again from themselves. The only glimmer of hope in this story is found in this repeated line in the last part of the book. It actually forms the last sentence of the story. Israel has no king. And so the stage is set for the following books to tell the origins of King David's family, the book of Ruth, and also the origins of kingship itself in Israel, the book of 1 Samuel. But the story of Judges has value as a tragedy. It's a sobering explanation of the human condition, and ultimately it points out the need for God's grace to send a king who will rescue his people. And that's the book of Judges.
All right. We just finished reading it, and we have the details. We have the 411. Card says, that's what I meant when I said you can be such an annoying kid, but not appointed. You're anointed, but not appointed. That's what I mean. Anointed, but not appointed. That's why I said you can be anointed, but not appointed. Yeah, I think that's what you mean, because that's what we have spoken about. Anointed but not appointed, or appointed but not anointed. Yes, guys. So there you have it. That is the end of the book of Judges. I want to say thanks to everybody again for coming into the lives, for listening, and for contributing to the live. I sincerely appreciate you. Thanks again, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much for sharing out the live. Thank you so much for inviting others to come on over and listen. That's going to be it from me for this morning. When you see me again today, I will be making my potato pudding. So until then, guys, and until next time, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourself a great morning, guys. See you again in a few. Alrighty.